All right, I'm going to just start with here is I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Here's a picture of me and my family. Yes, I do have 5 children. I know some of you who know me. It's hard to believe. I am a fairly young mom, but very busy, and I love it. Uh, in today's world, it's definitely hard to juggle that between life and family. So all of you who do that, I certainly praise you for that. Well, I've been with eOne Solutions for about 16 months. I absolutely love my job. I love working for eOne. And I would love to live in a world where, of course, my kids would always listen and or there was maybe an extra 10 hours in each day, but we all know that that's probably not going to happen. So thank you again just so much for joining today. What we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about Smart View and define kind of what that is and what the differences are between Smart View and Smart List. I have a fun 7-minute interactive session that we'll start with. And so I'm going to ask for all of your guys' help with this interactive session. And so once we get into that, I'll kind of explain to you what I need for you to do to help me out. We are going to take a look and see Smart View live in action. And then, of course, if you have any questions, we'll certainly address them at the end. But as Ali had mentioned too, throughout the session, if you wanted to go ahead and enter that in the chat box towards, I believe, the bottom right-hand corner, you certainly feel free to do that, please. All right, so to begin with, as I started, we're going to have that fun 7-minute interactive session. So if I could have all of you, and you can go to a phone, a tablet, your laptop, just pull up any browser and go ahead and type in reimagine.eonesolutions.com. So again, it's reimagine.eonesolutions.com. And while you're doing that, I am also going to do that just so you can kind of see what it looks like. So reimagine.eonesolutions.com, you're going to come to this web form. So if you can just go ahead and complete that web form. So put in your first name, last name, your email address, and then the event level. So you can certainly choose either general or VIP status. Either one will work. And then just hit submit, and literally within just a couple seconds here, it's going to send that through. So again, it's reimagine.eonesolutions.com. All right, so hopefully everyone has had time to do that. Now, let's go ahead and take a look to see who has helped me out. So let's go ahead. I'm actually going to go into Smart View here to begin with. Now, for those of you who do not know what Smart View is actually a tool that would replace your Smart List altogether. So I'm going to go into our sales transactions, and I'm going to pull up today's orders. All right, so now we're going to be able to see who all completed that web form today. So I'm going to let's pick on Dan here. So I'm going to double click on this invoice. And as you notice, when I double click on that, what that does is that brings it right up to screen. So as you can see, I don't have to go back into GP to pull that up. I can double click on that, and that's going to bring that right to screen. So what happened is when you completed that web form, it created all these invoices in GP. And as we can see, not only did it create the invoice, it also created that customer card here within GP. Now, the other thing, as you may have noticed when you submitted that web form, that there was a general or a VIP status. So if I go into the additional menu onto the SOP extras, now this is where we are using extender. And this is an extender field that was created to capture whether it's VIP or general. Now, extender, that's a tool that you're going to be able to create additional windows or forms without having to write any code. off of any window within GP. All right, so I'm going to close out of this invoice here. Now, when you submitted that web form, what happened is it also pushed data into CRM. So I'm not sure, for those of you who use CRM, maybe this would be something that would work. It doesn't have to necessarily be CRM. It can be Salesforce and other. These are just a couple examples. So I'm going to click on this Reimagine list here. And this is actually going to pull up a marketing list, and we're going to be able to see all those members who submitted that web form. All right, so again, I'm going to pick on Dan. I'm going to double click here, Dan. And what happened is not only did it create that marketing list in CRM, but what it did is it also created a contact card in CRM as well. So let's click on Dan. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you how we're going to be able to take data from CRM. So let's type in an address here, and I'm going to actually push this data into GP. So yes, as you can see, Fargo is the city. I am in Fargo, North Dakota, and we are now finally seeing some cold weather. So that's not a fun thing here. So I'm going to refresh this list here. I'm going to go back into Dan, and I'm going to pull up his customer card. Oh, and of course, let me just go ahead and refresh this again. Sometimes I'm too quick. Sometimes it can take just a moment or two for these to refresh each other. So let's go back into the invoice here. Go back into this, and for some reason we're not seeing it. So sometimes if there's a blank contact that was submitted, it can cause some issues where it doesn't pull up. But I just wanted you to make note that we can also take data from, say, CRM or from Salesforce, and we're going to be able to push that data into GP as well. Now, the last thing here I want to show you, and this is really fun. A lot of us work in Excel. It seems to be kind of the go-to tool and software that we're using. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. What this is doing is this is actually pulling in all that live data from GP. So let's go ahead and say I wanted to make some adjustments to these invoices without having to go into GP. And I'm going to be able to do that. So I'm going to actually pay for everyone's. One thing I forgot to tell you is when you submitted that web form, you were actually signing up for a party. And there's a $100 fee to enter the party. Based on the invoice here that you guys have, I'm going to actually take care of that and cover the cost for you. So we've got 5 of you attending, so I'm going to actually change this to 500. I'm going to change this to, just to give you an example, let's do $20. And let's do $50. And I'm going to actually change, Dan, you're going to be VIP, and Courtney, you're also going to be VIP status. So if I were to go up here onto the eOne Solutions add-on, this is an Excel add-on, and this list here that we're using in Excel was actually created by our tool called Smart List Builder. And some of you may be using Smart List Builder, but it also comes with the Excel refreshable reports. And so that's what we use to create this. Now this eOne Solutions add-on here in Excel, this is part of Smart Connect. So I'm going to go ahead and run the map. And what's happening is on the back end, Smart Connect is actually taking all this data from Excel, and it's updating all those unposted invoices in GP. So we have a successful map notification. Let's go back into Smart View here. I'm going to refresh our list. Now, as we can see, Dan, your invoice was changed to $20. You are also VIP. Courtney, you have a $50 bill, and you are also changed to VIP. So what I wanted to show you is just give you a brief overview. So you've just seen Smart Connect, you've seen Smart View, you've seen Extender and Smart List builder here in just a matter of a few minutes. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to take a deep dive here into SmartView. Now, as I'm showing you SmartView, if you guys wanted to maybe take a look, or actually if you wanted to think about maybe when you're using Smart List, some of the pain points that you have while using the tool. So some of the differences here that we've come across and based on feedback that we've received from many of our customers. Now, Smart List, that's going to be available with GP. So that comes with the GP tool. It's just a really basic reporting tool. It's very slow, as some of you may have noticed. You've got very limited filters, so you've only got the 4 filters, and so therefore you're only able to pull in very limited data. Now, with SmartView, this was developed and is available from eOne. This does replace your Smart List altogether. It makes working with your lists extremely easy. It's going to save you lots of time. You have unlimited filters. You have your totals right to your screen. You've got very easy grouping and subgrouping. And of course, you're going to also be able to export that to Excel if you want to do that, or a PDF or a CSV file. Another really cool feature is you can see your lists outside of GP. So if you have users within your organization who maybe only access GP just to see the data, they're going to be able to get access to these lists, and you're not going to have to take up a user license to do that. So that can definitely save you some money there. And of course, any lists that you've created using Smart List Builder, you're going to be able to see those lists in SmartView as well. All right, so you're probably tired of hearing me talking. So let's just take a look live in action and kind of see how it works here. And as again, while we're going through it, if you can just keep in mind in the back of your mind maybe some pain points that you have with Smart List, and or if you want to submit them via the chat too, and we can maybe kind of go through some of those pain points and see how we can do to help you out with that. All right, so I'm going to go back here to SmartView, and I'm going into our sales line items. All right. As you can see, and actually, you know what? I'm going to close out of this list, and we're going to have a race. Let's have a race. I want to show you how fast SmartView really is. I'm going to pull up that same list that I just pulled up in SmartView. I'm going to pull it up in Smart List. Let's do that. So let's go to Sales and Sales Line Items. All right, so as you can see, we've only got a couple hundred line items pulled up. And of course, it's been, what, a couple seconds here. Let me pull up. I'm going to try to pull up this list before it's done downloading. Sales Line Items. And we've pulled this up in 0.3 seconds. Let's see if Smart List is still downloading. Okay, it's done. But as you can definitely see, SmartView is way faster and quicker, and you're going to be able to pull in those items. We've actually switched over quite a few customers who are using Smart List over to SmartView. Especially, we've had some who are pulling in millions of transactions, and they would literally have to pull up their list at the beginning of the day in hopes by the end of the day they were going to actually be done, those lists would be done loading. So we were able to implement SmartView, and we were able to save them quite a bit of time in being able to pull up those lists. It literally pulled up millions of transactions within just within a minute or two. So that was definitely quite an improvement for them. All right, so we have SmartView pulled up now. Let's go ahead. We're going to talk a little bit about the lay of the land, so to speak. So on our left-hand side, this is where we have our tree view. And this is where we're going to be able to access all of our lists. And this includes all of those canned lists from Microsoft and or any list that you created using the Smart List Builder tool. This is going to be available here under this tree view. So we selected our sales line items from the tree view here on the left-hand side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and go up to our top left under our options here. And I'm going to show you how we're going to be able to hide the lists. And of course, we can hide the columns. So what this is going to do is this is going to really open up your view and give you greater visibility of your data. So I'm going to add the columns here back. So we can go ahead. I'm going to add a few different line items here to our list. So let's add, for instance, this is a sales line item, so I'm going to go into our sales. Let's add sales date. Let's add sales territory and salesperson ID. Now, as we can see, when these were added, it added it to the very end or the right-hand side of our list. So let's say I decide I don't want these over here on the end. I want them over towards the beginning. So my salesperson, I want at the very front. I can literally drag and drop them, and I can then choose whatever order that I want these to be in by simply dragging and dropping. So super easy to use interface. All right, so now let's go ahead and do some grouping and subgrouping. So if, let's say I wanted to group by the territory, sales territory, so I'm going to drag this up here into the ribbon, as you can see right here. So this is how I'm grouping, and then I'm going to subgroup by the SOP type. So again, I can just literally drag that here up into that ribbon, and that's going to subgroup those. Now, if I wanted to get a summary of the data, I can literally go ahead and collapse all of them. So I'm getting summaries of each of those territories. Now I'm going to expand the list. And let's say I wanted to take a look at all the invoicing in, let's say, territory 2. So we've got territory. So I'm going to filter, let's do territory 2. And let's say I just want to see all of the invoices. Now, as you can see, once you select a filter, what it does is it opens up a filter ribbon here at the bottom of the screen. Here's our filter ribbon. Now, with this filter ribbon, this is where I'm going to be able to add unlimited number of filters. So let's say I wanted to add. I could keep adding to my heart's content. There's no limit. Now, another really cool thing is not only can you add filters, you can also set conditions to these filters. So I can do equals, does not equal, is less than, begins with. So there's lots of conditions that you can add with that. Now, another cool thing that you're going to be able to do is there's some predefined date fields that are in here. So let's say if I change this to sales date and go under our conditions, you've got date and time operators. So this is something I use internally in the office. So if I'm looking at certain data within certain time periods, they're already preset. So if I wanted to look at, let's say, yesterday, last week, prior year, those are all predefined, and you can literally just go ahead and choose that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this. Now, as you also, one thing I also wanted to show you regarding filtering, if we go to the Options tab, we have what's called a Find panel or a Search panel. So as you notice, it's opened up this search panel. So let's say I'm looking for all the invoices that have $3 in it. So I put $3, and now what it did is it actually went and highlighted everything with the number 3. So that, can definitely save you time as far as when you're looking for certain data. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to collapse this data again. And I'm going to unfilter the territories here. And as you can see, if we were to right-click on any of our headers or our footers, we have a min, a max, a count. So if you wanted to count those items, you're going to be able to do that. Now, if you haven't noticed, you have your totals right to your screen. So not only do you have just the running total at the very bottom, you also have, if you have it grouped and subgrouped, you have all your groupings totals as well. All right, so another thing here that I want to show you, and we did kind of cover that earlier. Let's say if I were to double click on an invoice, it's going to pull that invoice right up to screen. So again, it's going to allow me to quickly find that invoice without having to go back into GP and pull it up that way as well. Okay, so we talked about our totals to screen. We talked about our filters. We went over our grouping, our subgrouping. Now, let's talk a little bit about how we can export this to Excel. So let's say if we go to our upper right-hand corner and I wanted to export all this data to Excel, and I'm going to collapse it because what I'm going to do is I want to show you that when you're exporting that to Excel, you're going to actually keep all of the groupings and the subgroupings that you've set prior to that. So I'm going to name this the TM group. I'm going to go ahead and save. As you can see, literally within just a few seconds here, it's exported that to Excel. And as you can see, what it did is it also kept all of our groupings and our subgroupings when we did that export. So that's a really cool feature that you can use. Another thing that you can do is you can save this list. So let's say this is a list that I want to use on a daily basis, but I don't want to have to come in here every single day and add my filters and add my groupings and subgroupings. We can save this as one of our favorites. So I'm going to name this one the TM group. Now, if we notice here, you can save this list to a specific role. So let's say all of your bookkeepers within your organization, you want to have access to the specific list. You're going to be able to save it based on a specific role. You can save it based on a user as well. And or if you have multiple companies, you can save it to a specific company also. So let's just go ahead and I'm going to choose all companies, all users, and I'm going to save. So let's add the list back. Now, as you can see here, the TM group, that's our favorite. So I'm going to go off of that. I'm going to go back to our sales line items. So this is just the initial list here with no grouping or subgrouping. If I click back on the TM group, as you notice, it has our grouping and our subgrouping. So it saved that when we save that as our favorite. All right, so it looks like we went through a lot of the features and details in regards to Smart View here. Now, what I want to do is maybe take a little bit of time and find out, is there any pain points maybe that you guys are having right now with Smart List? And if so, I would like to maybe take some of that time and show you maybe a solution to that. So if you could submit via chat any pain points you have, or if you have any questions, certainly submit that via chat and we can definitely go over those as well. All right, so I don't see anything. So, I mean, I certainly encourage you, if you have any questions, I would love to answer them and go over them. While you guys are thinking of questions that you have or maybe submitting that, I want to just talk a little bit about our pricing. $2,500 is the pricing. However, we do have our promotion we're running. It's $500 off through the end of November. And of course, you do have the 17.5% annual enhancement that does get added on to that as well. Now, this is a special pricing for the TM group customers only. And so if there's any questions you have about that, certainly Allie from the TM group or can certainly help you with that as well.
Naomi, we have one question.
Sure.
Do you market SmartView as a tool to mass update data in Great Plains?
We market SmartView as a replacement to SmartList. So basically what what we have said and what a lot of our customers have said, essentially it's Smart List on steroids.
Okay, we have one more question.
Okay.
Compatibility with latest version of Office and Windows 10?
Yes, it's compatible with all versions, 2010 and newer of GP and the latest versions of Windows 10 and Excel as well.
And one more. The Excel spreadsheet's ability to change the prices in GP?
So the Excel part that I had showed you is actually the ability to push data from Excel into GP. That is using what we call Smart Connect. So that is our integration tool, automation tool. So that can be used not only to migrate data or integrate data, but it can also be used to automate. So anything that you're maybe doing on a repetitive basis or being able to push data from Excel into GP, that is what we use Smart Connect to do. And if you do want to see Smart Connect, as far as a little bit more in depth, we do have weekly webinars that you are certainly more than welcome to attend. And those are right on, if you go to www.eonesolutions.com and go to the events tab, it's going to go over, I believe it's every Thursday, we have our Smart Connect weekly webinar that we do host.
All right, it looks like that is all the questions for today.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for taking time to learn more about SmartView. One thing, too, that I do want to note is this is the type of tool that is super easy to use that you don't even need training on. I know sometimes a person purchases a tool and they're really, unless they're taking hours of training on, they're not able to really fully utilize the tool. With this tool, you're not going to need that training. It's super hands-on, easy to use. And another thing is all of you can go and use this tool for free. We have a 30-day free trial that's available, so you can download that right off of our website. If you go to, again, www.eonesolutions.com, go to our downloads, you're going to be able to download SmartView and use it without keys for 30 days. So go ahead and just download it, get a feel for it, and see if it's something that you feel would help you out. And if so, we'd love to help you out with that. So, well, thanks again for joining. If you do have any follow-up questions that you think of, Allie can definitely help you out. Otherwise, there is my contact information as well. Certainly feel free to reach out.